Yeah. So let's go back a little bit. What happened in seventh grade that when you switched schools, you were now able to like flourish and do much better?
What happened in seventh grade was that when you're in elementary school, you could almost just sit in class and pay attention and do well in the exams. For some crazy reason, seventh grade was a little different. It just seemed like the compositions were longer, the homework was longer. And whatever it was at 13 years old, I really didn't understand the concept of time because I figured that if I just stacked my books on a table on a Sunday and gave myself 8 hours, I could figure it out like the movies. But time flies. And also, physiologically, I was getting tired. My eyes were hurting. And it's just, I remember this right before final exams, it must have been May of 85. And I was sitting at my dining room table and I was overwhelmed and it hit me. And I was trying to look for somebody to blame, but really, I could only blame myself. So it was one of the worst times of my life to be very disappointed in myself because the rest of the time I was jumping clouds and life was great. But this was some serious consequence. I was going to fail out of school and my parents were going to be embarrassed and they weren't going to know what to do with me. And so at that young age, you don't have the maturity to talk about it as an adult. You almost have to own it. And especially when your friends that you grew up with, they weren't allowed to play with you anymore and the parents were disappointed in you and you kind of felt like a loser, which I was. But also, in a sense, my good friend, it was the only way for me to get out of that private school. The only way was to fail out. And so it was almost like the coyote effect. I had to gnaw off my arm to get out of that cage. So
Right.
stay.
Did you want to go out before?
Yeah, it was one of the greatest things that ever happened in my life. Sometimes you have to get dirty to get clean and just to see what it's like to shine a diamond. And so when I was in this new environment at Abington, I almost had to get rid of bad habits because I came from an environment that was very closed. And I got a chance to meet a lot of different people that had a lot of self-confidence. And so I took the best of them. But it's such a delicate stage. And looking back at it now, a lot of people gave up on me. And the ones that believed in me, especially when you're at the lowest, those are the ones that still keep in touch with to these days. Those are the real friends. They loved you for who you were.
Oh, yeah.